Welcome dear students. This is Gaurav Singh. I'm going to take your class. Because of coronavirus, we are going to conduct our online classes. Computer based classes will be there. Okay, in that the subject, that is Constitution of India, we are going to study. In that we are having 6 modules. Under that we will study here. First one is need of laws, role of constitution, making of constitution, preamble, key features of constitution, and then the last topic, that is our constitution is a living document. So let's begin with first topic. Topic 1 is here, the law, why it's needed here. So in that we will study about why laws are necessary for us. Everywhere rules, regulations are very much important. Why it is there? So think of as many reasons as you can why most societies have laws and a legal system. As we can define, nations are also governed according to certain rules, that is called laws of the country. The purpose of having these laws is to avoid a situation of anarchy and at the same time ensure justice for all. So we can say that laws are created as and when they are needed by the society. So these are some of the most important, but you may have thought of others. Okay, so these are the things for which laws are basically needed. Okay, so now the in that laws, one act we are going to describe here, which is mentioned in your book, that is Dowry Provision Act 1961. As you can see in this image, the Dowry Provision Act is mentioned. Under that, in the society, you used to realize that whatever standards and the humiliation is taking place just because of dowry. Okay, so the practice of payment and acceptance of dowry has existed in our country for a long time. Earlier, at the time of marriage, parents gave their daughters dowry in the form of gift. And now what happened? It was a voluntary act, and this dowry was seen as the bride's own property. Over the centuries, dowry became an obligation, means it became mandatory. Whenever you are going to talk about your daughter's marriage, you must have to think before the talking about the marriage, you must have to think about dowry. Whether you are having the capacity, then only you can proceed your marriage purpose or proposals. Okay, so this is there. As we know, this act it came into the force by 1961. So first of all, what is dowry? Dowry is the social evil in India. We daily read in newspaper and watch the TV about dowry deaths. Dowry spoils all pleasures of married life. It has taken a fearful form. In India, it is really become an offensive crime. Like in a bride failed to bring dowry, she was humiliated, even tortured in certain cases by her in-laws. Many brides were tortured and in some instances even murdered by their in-laws if the family of the bride was unable to fulfill the expectations of in-laws. And even in present times, dowry related crimes continue to be reported. So by seeing such a kind of offense in the society, one act is introduced under the laws, that is Dowry Provision Act 1961. So what is 1961 Dowry Provision Act? It was passed in 1961 to prohibit the demanding, giving and taking of dowry. As dowry described by the Dowry Provision Act is the demand for the property by the groom's relatives from the bride's parents. So it was very heinous crime in the society. Means you are asking to take something by forcefully. Sometimes you used to commit some crime for that. Okay, so it was very heinous crime in the society. Then an amendment was made to the act in 1961. In 1981, which made payment or acceptance of dowry is a punishable offense. Means the act was further amended in 1986. People who are convicted under this law can face up to 5 years of imprisonment, and they can also be fined up to 15,000 rupees or the amount of the value of such dowry, whichever is more. Okay, so it was the provisions under the Dowry Act. Okay, means under the provision of Dowry Act. So dowry in India today, still it is existing here. Despite of Dowry Provision Act, the Indian Penal Code, that is IPC, dowry and dowry death are still occurring in India. Means if we used to see and watch on the television and newspaper, the dowry deaths are still occurring in India. Although dowry death may be investigated, convictions are slim to none. The accused party states that their beloved bride is dead as a result of a kitchen fire. Means they used to give the excuse in terms of kitchen fire. Their beloved bride is dead just because of kitchen fire. So this is the scenario. That's why the laws are made for the country like India, for the different aspect, for the different cases. As per the demand of the time, the laws are also getting changed. Okay. So the next topic for the day is that we are going to describe about the second topic. In that we will study about the Constituent Assembly. Okay, and before that we have to proceed about the what is Constitution. What is Constitution? Why it is here? Why it is important for us? As we know, for laws, a system of rules that is recognized by a country to keep a check on the actions of its citizens. Means it was a rules that is recognized for the country to keep a check on the actions of its citizen. So for that purpose, laws are made. If laws are there, then why there is need of constitution? Means the constitution is the basic law of the state designed to perform legal, political, ideological functions with material effect on public relations. Means it is here that has the supremacy over statutory laws. The constitution reflects the structure of a specific legal system and public relations with a jurisdiction. Means if there will be constitution, so every action performed by the people of the country can be regulated with the help of this book, that is the Constitution. Now under that we can understand something which is special here. What is the speciality of the Constitution? First of all, it is a written constitution. It is in the written form. Then it is second lengthiest constitution in the world. 448 articles are there. 25 parts are still present in the constitution. 12 schedules are there. More than 100 amendments are there. Here I mentioned 98 amendments, but more than 100 amendments are done. As we know, what is amendment? One question will be rise in your mind. Then you will ask, what is amendment? It is an official change made to a rule or law. Means if you want to change anything officially, okay, for the rules or for the laws, then there will be amendment. Okay, so there is legislation who used to amend the laws, rules, regulation of the country, whichever is mentioned in the Constitution of India. Okay, so these are the things which is mentioned here in the Constitution. Now, there is Constitution. So, what is the relationship between the government and the people? Means government is formed just because of the representatives of the people, and the role of the Constitution in this relationship means constitutions provide the legal assistance to the government and the rights to the people, duties to the people, the active principle of state policies to the people in the written form. So, if you are thinking you are not safe, you are unable to exercise your fundamental rights, then directly you can go to the court for your protection, for your rights. Okay, so this is there. But the Constitution provides both the circumstances here. Governments, that is three organs as we have studied in the previous classes: legislative, judiciary, executive. One by one I am going to deal. Legislative means laws makers who used to make the law for the nation. Policies, they are the legislative. Judiciary interprets the laws. It means they use to interpret the laws, whether it is appropriate or not. For that purpose, judiciaries are there, and sometimes you can also prefer that. Judiciaries are a system provides the dispute redressal, means provides the judgment towards any dispute, any matter, whichever is there in the country, like India. Executives are having the different working principle, means whatever laws are made by the legislature, so executive used to execute, that is implement or exercise those laws, and with the people taking all these three kinds of facilities from the different organs of the government. Okay, so now we are going to move for the third topic. In that we'll study about the Constituent Assembly. You can also see this photographs. It is in black and white because at that time the color camera was not developed or discovered. So this is the photographs of Constituent Assembly where Nehruji is giving some speech about the document, that is Constitution, which they were framing at the time. Now this is also the same photographs, okay, with the different positions. Now you can see that this is just like present parliament. Okay, in the parliament house you can see in this way all the representatives from the different constituencies used to sit there. Okay, so this is there. There is the structures of Constituent Assembly which you can see here. Now we will brief the Constituent Assembly. In that Constituent Assembly, the Constituent Assembly was dominated by the leaders of the freedom movement such as Dr. Rajendra Prasad, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Patel and Maulana Azad. Sarojini Naidu and the Vijayalakshmi Pandit were the women members of the Constituent Assembly. The first meeting, as it is described here, assembly took place in 9 December 1946. Dr. Rajendra Prasad was elected as the president of the Constituent Assembly, where Dr. B.R. Ambedkar was elected as the chairman of drafting committee. The articles of the Constitution were much deliberated over clause by clause. as it is mentioned in the book, which is Constitution of India. The Constituent Assembly finally approved the draft of the Indian Constitution on 26th of November 1949, but it came into effect on 26th January 1950. So, to mark this day, we used to celebrate 26th January as Republic Day. Means every year we used to celebrate Republic Day in the eve of Indian Constitution, which came into the effect by 26th January 1950. Okay, so this was there. These are the some details about the it took 2 years 11 months 18 days to complete, and 11 plenary session was there. Okay, and this was the decision making sessions. In that, all the members of the Constituent Assembly took the decision to make the constitution. The expenditure for Constituent Assembly for the constitution was 84 lakhs, and the members, chairmans, committees. So different chairman was there, that is Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, K.M. Munshi, Gopal Swami Iyengar, Sardar Patel, Pandit Nehru. So the members were in union power. There was 9 members. Fundamental rights and minorities, it was 54. So it was the Constituent Assembly's composition in that all things were involved. So now we will study about the fourth topic. In that, previously we will study what was the vision of the constitution. The leaders of our freedom struggle believed that after independence, the dignity of the individual, human rights, and the welfare of the people would be established. The makers of the Constitution incorporated these beliefs in our Constitution. Then they talk about the preamble of the Constitution, and in that they told about the preamble. So it was the Constitution of India. In that, we can say that the preamble to the Constitution is a reflection of the vision of the Constitution makers. Means the preambles describe about the vision of the Constitution makers. So in that, preamble in the brief was described as the beginning of the Constitution. Let's see here, that is the national emblem is used there. Okay, so in the fourth topic we will study about the preamble. So what is preamble? First, the preamble is a reflection of the vision of the Constitution makers. Means preamble is the brief introductory note at the beginning of our Constitution, which lists the source of authority, the system of government, the objectives to be attained by the political system, and the date of adoption and enactment of the Indian Constitution. So you can see here, this is the original draft of the preamble, which is here. In the preamble, as we know, by the 42nd Amendment of 1976, the words socialist and secular were added to the preamble, though the preamble is not enforceable by law. Means preamble is not enforceable by law. It provides a key to the understanding and interpretation of the Constitution. It has therefore been described as the soul of the Constitution. As here you can see that we the people of India, okay, so हम भारत के लोग, having solemnly resolved भारत को एक संपूर्ण प्रभुत्व संपन्न समाजवादी धर्मनिरपेक्ष लोकतंत्रात्मक गणराज्य बनाने के लिए तथा इसके नागरिकों को समस्त नागरिकों को न्याय विचार मीन्स this is the way through which the preamble is described, means there is no discrimination in the preamble. It is providing the introductory note at the beginning of our constitution, where it is the vision of the constitution makers or founding fathers of the constitution. Now the different terms which is used here, like socialist, sovereign, secular, democratic, republic. So these are the words which I am going to describe the meaning of these words, why it is used, what was the purpose. Means it is talking about the equality. Okay, it is talking about the equality. In that, one of the objective of our constitution is to ensure equal status and equality of opportunity for all individuals in the society. In the society. So first term which I am going to start here, that is sovereign. Means the word sovereign means supreme or independent. In India, it is known that thus it is a sovereign country, means India is internally and externally sovereign, means externally free from the control of any foreign powers, and internally it has a free government. Exactly, it is right. Means India is supreme or independent. That's why we can say that, and it is said that India is a sovereign country. Now, which is directly elected by the people and makes laws that govern the people. Means as per the demand of the people, as per the need of the society, the government is free to make the laws in the favor of the people. Okay, whomsoever has elected them. Means by internally or externally, India is independent. First, India is a supreme in terms of their lawmaking. Okay, so now it has absolute power to legislate on any subject. Okay, with some limitations. Okay, it has supremacy over all individuals and associations. Sovereignty of state is absolute, unlimited, and final. Means it is there. Means ultimately India is having own laws, own rules, own regulations. It has power to punish those who abuse, misuse law. Even leaders will be there, they will also punished, because it is already said that if anyone will commit any offense or crime, so they will be punished as per the laws which is mentioned. Either it may be CRPC, IPCC, Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, IPC. So it is there. Now, political sovereignty is vested both with center and states. Center assumes more power, free to decide its own foreign policy. Means India can decide its own policy. like ease of doing business. Any other countries investors can invest in India easily because the foreign policy is made by the government, by the Indian itself. So international laws, treaties, United Nations obligations does not affect the sovereignty of the state. So no one international laws, treaties and United Nations obligations can affect the sovereignty of the state. Okay, so this is about the sovereignty and sovereign. Okay, now we will talk about the socialist. India is a socialist. Means socialist was added to the preamble by 42nd Amendment Act 1976, which I have already explained. So it implies social and economic equality. Means there must be social and economic equality. Means on the basis of society, on the basis of economic capacity, it must be equally. Okay, so social equality in the context means the absence of discrimination on the grounds of caste, color, creed, sex, religion, language, etc. Under social equality, everyone has equal status and opportunities. Means economic equality in this context means that the government will endeavor to make the distribution, okay, of wealth more equal and approve the decent standard of living for all. So the economic equality and social equality which is present here will describe, and if we'll talk about the social, then caste, color, creed, sex, religion, language. On this basis, no one can discriminate the people of the India. And about the economic equality means government will endeavor to make distribution of wealth more equal and provide decent standard of living for all. So in the socialist it is there. And this is the effect emphasizing commitment. What is this? Commitment towards the formation of welfare state. Okay, so this is the effect emphasizing a commitment towards the formation of welfare states. India has adopted mixed economy. If someone will ask you, India adopted which economy? It is mixed economy. And government has framed many laws to achieve the aim of social equality. Means social equality is very important. Everything is made to bring the equality in the society, such as the abolition of untouchability. Still it is talking about the social equality, Jamindari, Equal Wages Act and Child Labor Prohibition Act. Means these acts are made for the economic equality. Means if it will be there, so there will be economic equality. No one can be discriminated on the basis of caste, creed, sex, religion and color and language. Okay, so this is talking about the socialist. Now we will talk about the secular. Okay, in that secular, India is a secular country. Why? Because this term secular was later addition to the constitution. It was realized that the fraternity and unity of the pluralistic country like India could be established only on the foundation of secularism. So secularism here means that discrimination on the basis of religion is neither allowed nor followed by the state. There is no special laws for any special religion. Okay, and state has no religion. We are independent, we are free to exercise our religion. Okay, so equality is assured to the citizens irrespective of religion. Freedom of faith, worship and belief is allowed to all. Means the state is to be impartial towards all religions. And furthermore, the state cannot adopt any particular religion. I have already told you, no one state is having its own religion. Especially I'm talking about India. That's why India is having secularism. And manipulation of religious sentiments for political ends is prohibited. So we cannot make them to follow the different religion forcefully. It is prohibited there. If someone is doing like that, so it is an offense, it is a crime. They will be punished under the different laws. Okay, so this is there, and it must treat all religions with equal respect. Understood? Means we are celebrating Holi, Eid, Bakrid. Okay, so everything is equal. It means every religion is having its own feature, and they are free to follow their religion, to celebrate their festival. So it is there. No religious instruction is imparted in the government or government aided schools. Okay, so they can follow as per their popularities. Okay, so that is about the secularism. Now we will talk about the democratic. So as we know, India is a democratic country where everything is people. It will the political system is also in the hand of the people. Means Indian democracy, the people of India elect their governments to all levels, union, state and local levels, by a system of universal adult franchise. Means, what is universal adult franchise? Means after the age of 18 we can cast the vote. Means at the age of 18 we can cast the vote. Earlier it was 21, but the then prime minister, that is Rajiv Gandhi, reduced the age, that is from 21 to 28 21 to 18 years, sorry, and above, and not otherwise debarred by law, is entitled to vote. Means every citizen of India who is 18 years of the age and above are entitled to vote, to cast their vote. So every citizen enjoys their rights without any discrimination on the basis of caste, creed, color, sex, religion or education. Okay, so this was the parameter in the Indian democratic system, where vision of building a democratic way of life for harmonious human coexistence. Okay, so if we are catering the life in the India, it is a democratic way. Means we are having the power to elect, to choose our representative, so they will work for our benefit, for our welfare. So India is a democratic country, as the Greek meaning of demos means the people, and kaitos means rule or government, means the government of India, as per the Abraham Lincoln has already told that. Okay, democracy is by the people, for the people, of the people. Okay, so this is said by the Abraham Lincoln. So democracy means the participation of the people in the government. So governance is driven by the representatives elected by the people. So encompasses social, economic and cultural democracy, that is also a part of democracy. So I may not accept your viewpoint, but I respect your right to say. Means your viewpoint should be differ and might be differ, but we respect the right to say. Means we are having right to speech. It doesn't mean that we can say anything. It is not mentioned there. Whatever is appropriate, we will speak like that, we will say like that. Okay, so next term which I am going to describe here, that is republic. As republic deals that as a republic deals that as opposed to a monarchy in which the head of the state is appointed on hereditary basis for a lifetime or until he abdicates from the throne. So, republic means a democratic republic is an entity in which the head of state is elected directly or indirectly for a fixed tenure. It means there will be no monarchy. Okay, means your father was president, so you will be the next president. No, it is not that in terms like republic. India is a republic country. So here, the president of India is elected by an electoral college for a term of 5 years. So if someone is elected for certain period of time, that is for some tenure, so this provides the status of republic. In India, the president, if I'll ask who is the present president, who is president of India? Yes, this is Ramnath Kovind. Okay, he has elected. Okay, and then he has given the fixed tenure, that is tenure of term of 5 years. So that's why India is known as republic. There is no system in which that is preceded by their ancestors or their family and their blood relation cannot appoint it as a head of the nation. Okay, so it deals about the republic. Now we will talk about the justice. So please take rest if you are not comfortable. Okay, but just in justice you have to understand first what is justice and why it is important. As stated in the preamble, our constitution aims at securing social, political and economic justice for all. It means justice means there should not be any discrimination, any kind of discrimination. Means there must be social justice, there must be economic justice, there must be political justice. One by one I am going to deal with that. If someone asks you what is social justice, means there should no any discrimination on the basis of birth, caste, race, sex or religion. That is called social justice. When I'll talk about the economic justice, means the gap between the rich and the poor is bridged. So this can be done by providing facilities of education, health and employment to all. So all these three elements will be there, like education, health and employment to all. Then there will be no economic discrimination. There must be, there will be economic justice. Now about the political justice. What is political justice? It implies that everyone has the right to participate in the affairs of the state. So if you are realizing that there is something wrong in the state, so you can raise the voice. You are free to strike. You are free to start any kind of movement. And movement, it doesn't mean that negative. It should be for the protection of the nation, in the favor of the nation. Then only you can start any movement. Like Champaran, Satyagraha, Namak. All this kind of movement was started by the Gandhiji for the in the favor of the nation. Okay, that's why it was supported. I have already told you about the social, economic and political justice. Okay, so it is welfare of the society, achieve common goals. If we're talking about the justice, does not confine the legal justice only. It also includes social, economic and political justice. It implies harmonious reconciliation, individuals' conduct with general welfare of the society. Now we had already talked about social justice, that is status of birth, gender, religion, caste, race. About the economic justice, so aims reduce gap between the rich and poor, means our constitution is also securing about the gap between the rich and poor. So directive principles makes provisions for human work, maternity relief, leisure, reduction of wide economic disparities, promoting economic interest, minimum wages, banning of forced labor. So these are such elements which are provided by the economic justice. So about the welfare of the people of the India, everything, every such a kind of justice are given in the preamble and the constitution. In the political equal opportunity for all citizens to participate in the political process, it is also there. Now on that basis we can say that the Constitution of India differs from other Western constitutions from which it has derived inspiration in the fact that it stipulates the supremacy of the legislature as the supreme law making body of the land. Okay, so this is there. In that respect, it renders legislative arm of the government nominally more powerful than either of executive of the judiciary. Okay, so this is the arm which is there, that is called the constitution. So it provides the power to all the different bodies of the government or organ of the government. Now preamble we have done, so we have left two other topics. One is key features of our constitution and another one is the Indian constitution as a living document. So we will talk here about the in the topic 5. So in the topic 5 we are going to study key features of the constitution. So what is the key features? What is the key feature of the constitution? So this is there. Key features of our constitution we are going to study. What is key and what is feature? I want to ask one more question. What is the key features? In an effort to fulfill the aspiration of all the Indians, the makers of our constitution did not hesitate to borrow many provisions of our constitution from other countries which had already experimented with democracy. It means founding fathers of the constitution or the constitution framers borrowed some different provisions from the different countries. Okay, and why they have borrowed? To means suppose something is experimented, so it can easily implement it or execute in the country like India. Okay, if we will start experimenting, so it will take too much time to frame anything. So it was the motto of the constitution makers, whatever is experimented by other country, so we can borrow from there and that can be used and implement here for the purpose in which we can frame our constitution. So first and foremost key feature is it is a parliamentary form of the government. First one is parliamentary form of the government. So India adopted a parliamentary form of the government from the British Constitution. Okay, so from where parliamentary form of the government is borrowed, it is taken or it is adopted from the British Constitution. Under the parliamentary system, the head of the state may be monarch or a president. Okay, so head of the government will be either monarch or president. However, their position is ceremonial. Understand? Ceremonial. In India, most of the work is done by the Prime Minister, while the authority given the permission for doing the things to the Council of Ministers, to the President, to the Prime Minister, sorry, is President. Okay, so the real power in such a system rests with the Prime Minister and his cabinet, all the whom are members of the legislature, because they are the member of the legislature. They have been selected from the different constituencies, so they are individually and collectively accountable to the legislature. Okay, so under the system, all the varied groups of people find representation in the parliament through the means of universal suffrage. Okay, so this is about the parliament form of the government. Now we'll talk about the federalism. Okay, so federalism means it is the existence of two or more tiers of government. Means India adopted this concept from Canada. Okay, so federalism is from Canada. Okay, it is from Canada. And where is Canada? You must have studied in geography. Canada is in, yeah, it is in North America. Okay, so it is adopted from Canada. Under the system, India has two levels of the government: central and state government. As the meaning of federal system means the division of power. So power has been divided in the center or the state. And the third tier exists in the form of Panchayati Raj, that is PRIs, Panchayati Raj institutions. Okay, so the union and state governments both are created by the constitution. So union and state governments are created by the constitution. Their structures, functions and powers are all defined in the constitution. Okay, so everything is mentioned about the federalism in the constitution. As a result, the union government cannot take away the powers of the state governments without their consent. So without the consent, they cannot take away the powers of the state government. Okay, so everywhere there is some limitations. Understood? So the Indian constitution divides the power of the union and the state government on the basis of three lists. Okay, and that three list, what is this three list? Union list, state list and concurrent list. There are three lists. Okay, in that three list, what is union list? The union list consists of subjects on which only the union government can make laws, such as finance and foreign relations. Then the second list is called state list, contains subjects on which laws can be made only by the state government, such as housing and transport. Okay, so these are the two list. But the third list is concurrent list. So what is concurrent list? If I'll ask you about the concurrent list, so the concurrent list consists of subjects on which both the central and the state government can make laws. But in case of clash, the central law will be prevail. So in the final, center will be responsible. They are having the more power than the state. Okay, sorry. So this is about the federal structure of that. Okay, so this is the second feature of the constitution, and the separation of power we have already discussed here. In the separation of power, the Indian constitution provides for three organs of the government: that the executive, legislative, and judiciary. The legislature is the lawmaking, legislature is lawmaking, executive, executive, executive क्या है? What is executive? It is responsible for the enforcement of these laws, while judiciary, judiciary, while judiciary, what is judiciary? It is responsible for dealing with situations that arise due to breach of laws. Okay, the situation that arise due to breach of laws. If there will be the collapse, there will be the dispute, then the judiciary will resolve the problems, the disputes. So each of these organs act as a check on the other and control arbitrary use of power by any one organ of the government. So this is about that. Now the fundamental rights and directive principle. Fundamental rights and directive principles. So the Indian Constitution derives its concept of fundamental rights from the Constitution of United States of America. Means fundamental rights are adopted from USA. Understood? So these rights ensure the idea of secularism, socialism, right to freedom of religion, culture and education, right to equality, right to constitutional remedies, and right against exploitation for all the citizens. So under these fundamental rights, these were mentioned. Okay, so this is talking about the fundamental rights. That's why this is also known as a special feature of our Indian Constitution. Now we will talk about the DPSP, that is Directive Principle of State Policy. As we know, it is adopted from Irish Constitution and based on the concept of welfare state. India is a welfare state because DPSP deals that India is a welfare state. So they are considered the basis of good governance and therefore serve as guidelines which should be kept in mind by the government while framing its policies. So we can say that these principles aim to establish political, economic and social justice. So this justice can be taken from the DPSP, that is Directive Principle of State Policies. Okay, and this principle also provide equal opportunities and facilitates to all the order to eliminate inequalities in status and inequalities in income. Okay, so this is also there. Then rising and standard of living of the people is also there because these are the principle and it is establishing here, also upholding international peace and security. So this is also mentioned there, DPSP. Okay, so this is there. Now the last but not least, the secularism. The secular was later addition of constitution. It was realized that the fraternity and unity of a pluralistic country like India could be established only on the foundation of secularism. So secularism here means that discrimination on the basis of religion is neither allowed nor followed by the state. So equality is assured to all citizens irrespective of religion. Freedom of faith, worship and belief is allowed to all. Okay, so in the secularism there will be no discrimination on the basis of religion. So the state is to be impartial towards all religion. The state cannot adopt the particular religion as the state religion. So India is having no one particular religion. Okay, state, the Indian state is having no religion. Okay, if someone is trying to enforce the different religion on others, so it is prohibited and it is an offense. So we've already described about the key features of constitution. If you are having any problem, so please ask me. Okay, so I will try to sort out your problems. Okay, in the groups. Okay, now we will talk about the topic 6. Okay, of the book of the chapter. In that topic 6 is about the Constitution of India is a living document. How can we say that the Constitution of India is a living document? So before that, as we know, India is a country where 135 crore people are still residing, and on the daily basis the different problems are also creating. Most of the problems are sought out by the different laws which are already there in the constitution and the different law books, but very few of them are still unique case, like Juvenile Justice Act. It is amended multiple times. Why? Because the heinous crime, the case whichever is experienced in the Delhi, which occurred in Delhi, like different cases. So from that, our legislature tried to learn more and more about India. Means if there will be no amendment facility in the constitution, means there is no proper justice system in the country. So if we want to provide them the equal justice, timely justice, so we must have to amend the constitution as per the requirement. Okay, and the Constitution of India is a living document because our constitution is not a rigid document, neither it is rigid nor flexible. In response to changing needs of the society, it allows the government to make changes to the laws by amending the constitution. Means changing needs as per the technical advancement. At the time of constitution making in 1949, it was not observed by our founding fathers or the leaders of the constitution makers. They had never think about the cyber crime. At that time, it was not popular. It was not known to them. But in India, cybercrime is taking place. For that, the different laws are made for the cyber criminals. Bankruptcy code was not at that time, but right now it is introduced because it is the changing needs. As per the time, the quality of crime, the quality of rights are also getting changed. We are talking about the right to privacy, but nothing is that important like nation. Okay, so nation is first and foremost priority of each and every citizen of the country. So sometimes right to privacy can be violated for the protection of the nation. It means nation comes first. So in this sense, it is a living document which, like a living being, keeps responding to the different situations that arise from time to time. Okay, based on the revolutionary ideas of equality, liberty, and fraternity. Our constitution also continues to be an instrument of social change and welfare. Understood? So, on this ground, we can say that our constitution is a living document. We have already described about parliament has the powers to make changes. Circumstances and condition are also changing. That's why. However, it should be done without tempering and changing the basic structure of the constitution. What is the basic structure? The structure which is framed by the founding fathers, the constitution framers. So if we are trying to change, and if we will change the basic structure, so it will harm the sentiment of that and the dignity of the constitution framers. So without harming the or changing the basic structure, we can amend the constitution. As it is kept itself arbitrated with the changes, the constitution become a live and dynamic document instead of a rigid one. Means India is having constitution which is neither too rigid nor too much flexible. It means it provides equal justice. For that purpose, there is amendment facilities are available. Okay, so this is the scenario which is there in the Constitution of India. So let's revise what we have studied here today. Okay. First, need of laws, role of constitution, making of constitution, preamble, key features of our constitution, and constitution a living document. In the first topic, it was there. We talk about the need of the laws. In that, Dory Provision 1961 we have studied. In that, different examples we also try to quote here. Then Dory Provision Act is also mentioned there. In the second role of constitution which is there. In the constitution, role of constitution is also there. What is the role? And the constitution's description of the constitution. Then we talk about the relationship of the constitution between the government and its people, in which we talked about the different organ of the government, legislative, judiciary, executive, the people. Okay, so in the third topic we studied about the Constituent Assembly. Okay, in that we tried to some photographs, structure of the Constituent Assembly and the composition. Okay, now in topic 4 we studied about the preamble. In that we tried to define and describe about the each and every aspect of the preamble. In that we study about the sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, republic, justice, 3 types of justice: social, economic and political justice we studied. So in the 5th topic we studied about the key features of the constitution. In that key feature of the constitution we studied about the parliamentary form of the government, federalism, separation of powers, fundamental rights and directive principle of state policy, secularism. So all this term we have studied. Now in the 6th topic and the last topic of the chapter, that is the Constitution of India is a living document. In that we studied about the constitution and what is the element which makes it as a living document. Okay, so these are all about the chapter 1, that is Constitution of India. So have a nice day. Thank you very much, okay, for watching, and I hope all of you are studying well at your home. And if any problem if from any problem you are suffering from this related to the chapter, so you can ask in the WhatsApp group, so I am able to describe the answer of the of your problem. Okay, so thank you very much once again. Have a nice day.